Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold. Been here making mistakes for you since 2013, so you don't have to. And this is part 2 of the video about making the knurling attachment, and it's been one of the most messed up videos I've ever made. Knurling attachment, knurling tool. It's a clamp type knurling tool. Anyway, this is really the biggest mess I've made of a video that I can remember. I never ran the battery dry on the camera before, and I discovered that the little battery symbol was outlined in red. I've never seen it that way before, and I didn't know this until I was dumping the videos from the memory card, onto my PC, and so there was a lot of video lost. And I thought at first, well, maybe I ought to just go on and finish the thing and just pop up and say, yeah, look here, I made this knurling tool, and forget about the video. And then I thought, no, I'll try to salvage what's left, to make it work out. After all, I had a lot of stuff there for part 1 and not as much for part 2 here. So this ought to be short and sweet. Because I've gotten down really into the last few steps. This should have been about a 4, maybe 5 part video if I hadn't lost stuff and had done everything right. But there you are. Anyway, let's just get on with finishing up the knurling tool. Oh, and I've been having a heck of a time locating Kurt Cook in his proper state. He tells me he lives about 100 miles from Mr. Pete, which is, great, but apparently he's in Illinois. Just to be honest, here's what I learned from in school. This is the Texans map of the United States. So you see, if you ain't in Texas, I could have some trouble figuring out where the heck you are. Sorry about that, Kurt. One of these days we'll get it right. Well, an awful lot of the video of the making of this piece got lost. You didn't get to see how cleverly I rounded the ends or how cleverly I threaded the stuff and recessed these things. The only thing I've got left to do is I've got to countersink these 8 holes. And it calls for me to use 1032 bolts, socket head cap screws. And I don't have any 1032 socket head cap screws, but I got some 1024. And that's what I'm going to use on it. Now I got to making this piece, and there was supposed to have been quite a bit of video on the making of this. As it is where we stand right now, the video will start with putting these 4 holes in the end of this little booger. The rest of it's already made. Sorry about that, guys. When I mess up, I don't fool around. I mess up big. Alright, so I took my Randy Richards scribe and my calipers and laid out some lines there where they crossed and such, so that I'd have some idiot proofing to know that when I did it with the DRO that I wasn't doing the wrong math. So I laid it out with the DRO after laying it out with my scribe and my caliper. Now I gotta get a number 25 drill bit and drill it for the 1024 screws, not having any 1032s. So we'll be back, and hopefully this time we'll have some video, surely. Since I've already got this thing lined up on the DRO, I didn't want to have to lift the head, and I was lucky that that little drill bit just barely clears, so we can go ahead and drill our holes. A little bit of grease on it there. Alright. So 3 more of those and it's all drilled. Hopefully I'll wake you up and still have video. I think they pretty much say the the height of insanity is doing the same thing wrong over and over, hoping to get good results. Well, this is almost the same thing over and over, but a little slower RPM, and I've done successful power tapping here before, so we're going to give it a try. Who knows? Alright, I had it loose enough that it started slipping after it got in pretty good, so now I can put a tap handle on it and know it's going to screw in there straight. Bring you guys back later. Well, so far things are working out. I got it started, you know, several threads down straight with the drill press. I've already finished this hole and I'm on the second one. I think what I'm dealing with is a dull tap, plus the fact that I drilled it for a 75% thread, which is always kind of tight and sticky, but I did that because the thing called for a 1032 screw and I'm going with a 1024, and you may or may not know that fine threads have a much better grip than coarse threads. So I went from fine to coarse. I guess really I should have gone to the hardware store and bought some of the right size cap screws, because I'm going to have to go there and buy a new tap anyway. This thing, I know this one's just too dull. So I'll bring you guys back when I get to the next step. Well, the bolt holes line up, which is a good thing, and that's the way I understand it's going to look when it's fitted together. I'm not certain. This may roll over. I'm not certain about that. I'll have to look at the drawing again to be sure. But anyway, I'm going to use this to locate these holes. I'll put it in the chuck, use it to locate these holes so I can come down and countersink them with an end mill. So that'll be the next step. Alright, I put the drill bit in the chuck with the smooth end down, and then I just line up the hole so it goes in there without banging around on the edges. So I know if I countersink at that spot, it's bound to be a good countersink. And I'm going to put an end mill in that chuck, which is an absolute no-no. But if you read the disclaimer in the intro to my channel, it tells you right there that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm using the wrong tools for the wrong job. And if you do anything you see me do, you could be injured or killed. So keep that in mind. Okay, so I've aligned it using the drill bit, which I've done on the other two on there. And now I'm going to put the end mill in it. I'm just drilling gently down a little ways and then checking the fit of it with the screw, because when I put this end mill back in there, it's not necessarily going to be in the same place it was the last time. You know, not as far in or out. So setting the little stop on the side won't help me. Yeah, that'll do the job. Now I could do this on the little grizzly mill over there, but I feel better about lining it up here. I feel like I got easier to align it because I can just turn this table in any direction and it just flops around to where I want it. When you're aligning something with a small drill bit like that, you need to double check yourself, because that drill bit can deflect real easy. It's thin and small, and it'll bend a lot more than you think, even though it springs back. So you can see this hole was just a little bit too close to this side here. if I hadn't stopped and looked to see what kind of a mark I made on the surface, I could have been way down in there with a hole that was way off center. So that's a good thing to check. I marked one corner with my Randy Richards scribe, and so I'm going to try to drill the hole for the thread. I think I'm going to take this thing out and see if the drill bit hits my supports here. Before I do any drilling, I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to drill into my parallels. I was at a loss for the word there for a minute. Alright, so we'll move it over. It just a couple of thousandths misses that parallel. So I guess I can take a chance on it. Well, okay. Put it back where it was. I'm just going to go ahead and zero out the X reading there. So I'm going to have to unstick it. Anyway, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to drill here, 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 and that's the hole layout. I got to straighten out my problem with the DRO here. Well, I did something or other that the DRO saw as a horrible error, and it went to flashing, so I had to unplug it and plug it back in to make it quit. But with any luck, we're going to miss the parallel, hopefully. We didn't miss it. We didn't miss it at all. Oh well, we'll just have to keep on like this. I'll move this thing around a bit. Well, it's obvious that I'm going to hit the parallel every time if I drill all the way through. So I'm going to mark them and give them just a little start on the drilling. Then I'll take them over the drill press and finish them off. I think maybe you can see right on the edge of this parallel, just let me get it in my eye, right along this edge right here where the drill bit touched it. I have to take a stone and kind of clean it up. When I was modifying these chuck jaws, I put a little V-notch on each side there so I could hold round things, and it came in just right. I could set this over it and the drill bit went right through it. So now then I'll get my tap located and we'll try to power tap this thing. Alright, I managed to successfully get the 4 holes threaded, which was a real pain considering I only had 2 of these taps, and I broke one on the second hole because I got to pushing it too hard, too fast. This one's got a couple of teeth missing, but here's a little trivia for you. We all know that the tap's narrower on this end and it gets larger to full size in the middle, but we didn't know that it also narrows back down as it gets further up toward where the teeth run out. So that is an interesting bit of trivia, I thought, maybe. Okay, here's sort of what it would look like assembled when I've got the last couple of pieces. I got to make the pieces that go in there to hold the knurling rollers, and I've got to cut those little boogers off. Chances are I'll just stick them on the belt grinder and let it smooth them off even with the surface. But there you go. That's starting to shape up. We should be through in an hour or so. There, now the bolts fit exactly the right length, huh? Who could have guessed? Well, that's all, folks. Y'all try to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Leave a comment if you got something to say. And above all, remember, keep on keeping on. Bye now.